mysterious island. Out of curiosity, Odysseus picks 12 of his most trusted men to scout out the land. While exploring, the men come upon the cave of the Cyclops Polyphemus. The cave is empty, save for lamps, drying cheeses, and buckets used for milking. Suddenly, Polyphemus appears. After finishing his chores, the Cyclops sees his intruders. Odysseus introduces himself as the men of Achaea. Once Odysseus indirectly threatens the Cyclops with the wrath of Zeus, who protects all suppliants, the feast begins.
Stranger!
He grumbled back from his brutal heart.
You must be a fool, stranger, or come from nowhere, telling me to fear the gods or avoid their wrath. We Cyclops never blink at Zeus and Zeus' shield of storm and thunder, or any other blessed god. We've got more force by far. I'd never spare you in fear of Zeus' hatred, you or your comrades here, unless I had the urge. But tell me, where did you moor your sturdy ship when you arrived? Up the coast or close in? I'd just like to know.
So he laid his trap, but he never caught me. No, wise to the world, I shot back in my crafty way.
My ship? Poseidon, god of the earthquake, smashed my ship. He drove it against the rocks at your island's far cape. He dashed it against a cliff as the winds rode us in. I and the men you see escaped a sudden death.
Not a word in reply to that, the ruthless brute. Lurching up, he lunged out with his hand toward my men, and snatching two at once, wrapping them on the ground, he knocked them dead like pups. Their brains gushed all over, soaked the floor. And ripping them limb from limb to fix his meal, he bolted them down like a mountain lion, left no scrap, devoured entrails, flesh and bones, marrow and all. We flung our arms to Zeus, we wept and cried aloud, looking at his grisly work, paralyzed, appalled. But once the Cyclops had stuffed his enormous gut with human flesh, washing it down with raw milk, he slept in his cave, stretched out along the flock. And I, with my fighting heart, thought at first to steal up on him, grab the sharp sword at my hip, and stab his chest where his midriff packs the liver. I groped for the fatal spot, but a fresh thought held me back. There at a stroke we finish off ourselves as well. How could we, with our bare hands, heave back that slab he set to block his cavern's gaping maw? So we lay there groaning, waiting Dawn's first flight. When young Dawn with her rose-red fingers shone once more, the monster relit his fire and milked his handsome ewes, each in order, putting a suckling underneath each dam. And as soon as he briskly finished all his chores, he snatched up 2 more men and fixed his meal. Well fed, he drove his fat sheep from the cave, lightly lifting the huge door slab up and away, then slipped it back in place as a hunter flips the lid of his quiver shut. Piercing whistles, turning his flocks to the hills, he left me there, the heart inside me brooding on revenge.
How could I pay him back? Would Athena give me glory?
Here was the plan that struck my mind as best. The Cyclops' great club, there it lay by the pens, olive wood full of sap. He'd lopped it off to brandish once it dried. Looking it over, we judged it big enough to be the mast of a pitch-black ship with her 20 oars. A freighter broad in the beam that plows through miles of sea, so long, so thick, it bulked before our eyes. Well, flanking it now, I chopped off a fathom's length, rolled it to comrades, told them to plane it down, and they made the club smooth as I bent and shaved the tip to a stabbing point. I turned it over the blazing fire to chart, good and hard, then hid it well, buried deep under the dung that littered the cavern's floor in thick, wet clumps. And now I ordered my shipmates all to cast lots, who'd brave it out with me, to hoist our stake and grind it into his eye when sleep had overcome him. Luck of the draw, I got the very good ones I would have picked myself, 4 good men, and I in the lead made 5. Nightfall brought him back, herding his woolly sheep, and he quickly drove the sleek flock into the vaulted cavern, rams and all, none left outside in the walled yard. His own idea, perhaps, or a god led him on. Then he hoisted the huge slab to block the door and squatted to milk his sheep and bleeding goats, each in order, putting a suckling underneath each dam. And as soon as he briskly finished all his chores, he snatched up 2 more men and fixed his meal. We don't want to show her because she has a book.
I'm sorry. Stranger!
He grumbled back. Piercing whistles.
Too much marshmallow. Way too much marshmallow.
Crunch the pretzel too, like.
Well, we have to keep that part ready because we ate them.
Yeah.
There you go.
Place as 100 flips the lid of his quiver shut. Piercing whistles, turning his flocks to the hills. He left me there, the heart inside me brooding on revenge. Afraid or bra.
Keep going.
Oh, just keep going? Just
Mhm.
cut it out?
Mhm.
Okay.